Just took care of some more business, but I'm back on here again. My day off today. It's my day off today. Not working today. It's my day off there. Got a little more. Got a little more time. Got a little more time to spare before I go off and do something else. I'm tapping in. What's going on? Boy, Bitches again coming out of my native city of Los Angeles. Fight don't stop until the heart stop. New legacy began. I'm talking about addictions real quick. Addictions need to be talked about. You know, we all have battled some form of addiction. And addiction can turn into a disease if not treated. You know, got to take care of yourself. You know, all addictions can turn to some kind of disaster if it's not treated, right? Oh, shit. And you got to take care of yourself. Sorry about that. You got to take care of yourself. You got people with drug addictions. Anyways, I'm gonna talk some more. I need to get some more people on here real quick. I don't want us to be talking. Addictions is a topic of discussion. A little more Trump talk. Just a little bit more, not too much Trump talk. Prison talk. A little bit of prison talk. Prison talk is the discussion. I'm gonna talk about Trump, addictions, and somewhat of ICE and mix of racial situations here in LA, particularly in LA. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, y'all want to stick around for that and ask me questions based off of those type of topics. I'm willing to answer. Yeah, anyway, as soon as y'all pop on, I'll start talking. There's enough people on this live. What's going on? Talk about addictions, prison talk, a little bit of Trump talk and racial situations in LA. What was the other one? It was another one. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Prison politics, man. Or something else. ICE. There are, what's going on with you? How you doing? That's a bit of a racial division in Los Angeles right now, according to, not enough blacks helping the protests. I'm going to be as open-minded about this as possible. Give a like if you like what I'm talking about. I want to speak about this. I'm half African-American. I'm half Jamaican. So I feel like I have the right to speak about this. I'm a Los Angeles native, born and raised out here all my life. I've been in prison. I understand prison politics. Blacks and Hispanics are not together in prison, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't be together on the streets. Streets is a whole nother ball game, right? Like I said, me and my uncle, we're preaching more unity. So, unity and peace. So I feel like that's a topic to discuss. Racial and ICE situations in LA County. There's been tension ongoing, tension on and off. Sometimes it calms down. Sometimes it doesn't, between black and Hispanics for the longest, right? Out here in LA County. It's really Southern California, but I'm going to speak about LA County. So, ongoing tension, you know what I'm saying? It's always something that pops off, right? Somebody might say the wrong thing on social media that might stir up some racial tension again. Or, somebody might some blacks might rob a Hispanic vendor, a vendor, and it might stir up some racial tension again. It's a bunch of, racial. It's starting to escalate again in LA County because of the ICE situation. A lot of Hispanics have been voicing their opinions. Quite a few been voicing their opinions on social media on why they feel like Black Americans should stand with them. Right? You got to understand the long-going disagreements between Black Americans and Hispanics in Southern California. to understand and grasp of that. You know, I'm not saying I'm not encouraging my people to go out there and march, protest. But I'm not saying not to. But then again, considering I'm just speaking real, man. Considering the history, the tension, up and downs, you got to understand why. There's, of course, there's not going to be a lot of Black Americans out there. Of course not. Certain racial tension, certain areas in LA County, there's certain areas where, Hispanics, certain Hispanic gangs don't want no, don't want no blacks out there, man. So it's like, it's racial tension, that's been long going for the longest. So I feel like blacks should get on here. They can voice their opinion, but this generation is more open-minded. I noticed that. Every generation is different, right? This generation, respect. What's going on, Jacob? Voice, I can't do no SpongeBob. No. Yeah. Hey man, it's like I can't do no SpongeBob voice, man. But anyway, yeah. Thanks, Maverick. What's going on? But keep oh, y'all left. If anybody in here, give me a sign if you're still in here. But I'll get back to talking again. Might get somebody up in here. But yeah, the Black and Hispanic situations, right, has been on it. It has been somewhat good at times, somewhat bad. It's like back and forth. It's too unstable for for pretty much for Hispanics to be asking blacks to join the protest. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but you got to understand. Whenever you get into, you got to understand the history. Otherwise, you're gonna be like you're gonna be ignorant to the education of things. I'm not promoting racial, segregation. I'm not promoting racial empowerment and all that. I'm just looking at it from a general perspective as far as what I've been through and what I've seen out here within the culture of Los Angeles. The culture of Southern Cali. Blacks are not together with Hispanics behind the walls, right? We have to program with them according to, behind the prison walls, right? But they're not together. They don't, unite with blacks. Blacks don't unite with Hispanics behind the walls. And everybody that's really knows this. There's politics, right? There's racial politics in there. Not saying that everybody that go in there is racist, but you have to fall underneath racial politics. If you don't, you get disciplined with it. That's just the way it is behind the walls. Southsiders and blacks, up and down relationships, but we're not allies behind the walls. At times it might be peaceful, but we're not allies. Sometimes it can jump off, riots and stuff like that, right? I've been in some situations where it's hostile. That sometimes can escalate onto the streets. And some people can carry them same beliefs and institutionalized ways from behind them walls, go out there on the streets. If you like what I'm saying, go ahead and put the likes up. Go out there on the streets, right? And then spread them same type of ways and beliefs. And every, little activity of the way they do things in life. And that can affect things to a large degree. That's why there's not too many blacks. That's another reason why there's not too many blacks join in on the ICE protest. I'm not saying this right. I'm just giving an example. Give a like if you like what I'm talking about. That's why you got blacks on there come on here laugh and talk about, you thought, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just explaining why the history of this. I don't got time to be clown. I don't got time for all that shit. I'm trying to move away from that racial type of, that I'm tired. I'm drained out. Can you imagine going to prison, doing some years in prison, going through that racial bullshit for some years? I'm burnt out on a racial politics. I'm just up to here with it. I'm moving on a new agenda. That's why I'm talking about LA unity. No matter if you black, brown, white, in LA, right? If you work, I look at it like this. I explained this before. If you're a working class member in LA County, right? We all have to work together in order to provide, taxes, and we pay our taxes, right? We help keep the city afloat. You know, we help pay taxes that helps our school systems. We help pay taxes that helps our medical systems. We help pay taxes that helps, you know, the infrastructure of freeways, infrastructure of buildings being built, construction. We help pay taxes towards, help keeping our water, our gas going, our electric bills going. We help pay taxes for food to be important, into the country, all kind of stuff. Export or whatever. Our money floats around. It's like a tornado of money just floating around, right? Until it lands to a place where it's needed at, and then it just keeps floating around. Money creates more money. It's just like that. It's a revolving system. So that's preach LA unity now, because the way I envision things, is not just about race. It's about working together for a specific purpose within LA County, because we are the capital of the world, right? LA County, we make a difference in pop culture. We make a difference in certain goods. We're the freaking donor nation. We feed other states. California, we feed other states. We at the top of the fucking world now. The third, fourth largest economy in the world. So I preach LA. I touch on the topic of LA unity, and partially because of that, But racial, it's starting to get a little hectic again with Black and Hispanics in LA County, because people are going online, voicing. Yeah, me too. I'm tired of it too. That's why I'm speaking about it, because it needs to be spoken about. I'm gonna try to speak about it from, with an open mind and in perspective, because I want this to be talked about. I want to understand it on it, so we can at least educate ourselves on what's going on and what's the root of the problem of this shit. But yeah, I believe in working with each other towards a specific purpose, because we all got to work towards, to have a society, right? To have a civilization, to try to correct, political problems, come together to vote on certain laws to be passed. You have to work with each other towards accomplishing a specific purpose in order to create a specific agenda for the society you stay in, right? In order to be civilized. That's what civilization is based on: democracy, right? Coming together, sharing opinions in order to coexist in society with each other. Otherwise, you have a bunch of chaos. You're gonna have like a third world country. Everybody gonna be fighting each other, and it's never just gonna be civilized. It's gonna be way worse than what it could be. Oh man. You even got race. You even got the division among the Hispanic race. You got some Hispanic Americans that voted, Trump. You got some Hispanic Americans that basically that did not vote for Trump. They voted for Biden, or or they voted Democrat, whatever, liberal. So there, it's division among the Hispanic group as well. You got some Hispanics. They believe that a person that come over here illegal, they should get shipped off no matter what their situation is. No, Hispanics are not even together on this ICE situation as far as these politics and policies are concerned. Even blacks are kind of divided. We always have been kind of divided in a way. It's a known history that we ain't never been together like that. Only time we really come together is with certain police brutality type of situations. Or some kind of racial incidents or something like that. That's bad. It shouldn't be like that, but that's the way it is. And it should be improved. Black and brown relations should be improved, as well as we gotta start with our own first in order to branch out and try to fix other type of, outer racial situations. We gotta be able to handle our try to fix the discrepancies within our own community before we can move on and try to fix outside of our, racial walls, That's with anything. You gotta fix what's going on home first, right? Your community first before you can branch out, try to fix other things. Blacks gotta be, before we can even go and talk online, talk about other races, we gotta realize as Black people, Black Americans, that we're not even we're not even tight in our own game right now. So we really don't have like too much to say. We can voice our opinions, but really like to go online and bash this whole ICE situation, to laugh and all that. That's not really our place right now because we still got black on black crimes, black on black gang banging, people tripping on each other. You got Adam 22 promoting black on black violence. You got him promoting Hispanic on Hispanic violence. I think he needs to get impeached. I'm gonna use political terms on him to get politically correct. He needs to get impeached and removed from his social media. He needs to be restricted of all of that fake old bragging about him being a hip hop fan. No, he need to get stripped of all that. He need to get blackmailed, kick him off of air, and kick him out of LA. You ain't originally from LA anyway, over here trying to make impact, come over here, cause some all kind of problems. You're not even from the land, dude. That's why I feel about Adam 22. You know, Charleston White. I heard of Charleston White. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Charleston White. I heard there's been some, some discrepancies with him too. Him, basically getting involved in certain situations where, giving his opinions on stuff and they really, probably shouldn't be involved at a particular time. Kind of like, stirring up a little drama and stuff. He obviously likes to speak his mind a lot, and sometimes, speaking your mind can get you in a little trouble if it's pertaining to a real sensitive topic, if you're not really being conscious of what you're saying, and respectful to the words that you use in order to try to address it. And nothing wrong with addressing a problem, but if you use certain words that a lot of people are going to dislike, even though you're trying to speak about something you feel like should be addressed and it should be changed to, if you're not using be respectful, considerate words, you're going to stir up chaos. You better be ready for that backlash. You know what I mean? Charleston White, he needs he's an intelligent individual, but just because a person is intelligent, they can be ignorant at the same time. I think he just needs to refocus on what he says, because he can, by go mouth, you can stir up a lot of shit by the words that come out your mouth. I think he need to sit somewhere. He getting older too, man. He's older. He's probably like in his late 40s or something. At that age, you should be a little more mindful of what you're saying and not be so drama seeking. You know what I mean? At that age, you should be more mindful and not be so drama seeking, right? That's what I feel. But anyways, what's going on? I remember you was on here earlier, G-Hun. What's going on? Yeah, he is creating a lot of shit. Well, I heard about some certain little issues that he's been involved. I've been hearing his name a lot lately. That's why I knew exactly who you were talking about. I know he's not from California. I don't think he's from California. I think he's from I know he's not from California. He's from another state. I think he's probably gang affiliated, maybe. But anyways, yeah, he sure is. I'm serious. I'm hearing a lot about him on the LA streets, and that's it's not positive stuff. That's not good, man. All out here, in the LA politics. I don't even think he from out here. That's one thing you would not want to get yourself involved in, the streets, right? And if you're not particularly from a particular region, you get yourself involved with somebody else's politics, that never goes well, especially if it's like a negative perspective. Just certain things you should not get yourself involved in. And I know LA politics, I know quite a bit about LA politics. And for some people to be speaking about LA gangs and stuff as if they was born up out here and raised around it, having opinions about different stuff, laughing, talking, whatever, being negative or trying to stir up. I don't know all what he did, but I'm just saying in general as well. Somebody try to stir up, conflict between two different gangs or two different individuals that might be from two different gangs that might beef. That's never good, man. Or people come out here, a lot of celebrities come out, and it's funny. Some celebrities, right? They come in LA. They don't even have to get involved with the street life or pretend to be a part of the street. They come out here and they say they're from a particular gang when they're really not. That looks bad too. I don't understand why some celebrities do that, or are they so desperate to get involved with the street life, the gang life in LA. Like I said, LA is the entertainment capital of the world and many numerous different things. And people, they know that, and they come out here, they just get indulged. They can't help like an addiction. They just suck up all the culture. You know what I mean? Texas. Oh yeah. See, I figured he's from Texas. Thank you for putting. I think I heard that before since you mentioned that. Texas. Yeah, he needs to stay within his politics. He can speak about what his politics goes on out there on the streets. I don't speak about. I always, every time I talk about political stuff, I always talk about stuff out here. I make that clear as soon as I hop online. You know, I always say that. Every time I talk about political stuff, I always talk about. I'm gonna talk about stuff politically in LA because that's where I'm from, born and raised. So I know what I'm talking about. You know, I've been around stuff. You know what I mean? I have family members that were heavily involved in politics, street politics at one point in time. And still might have some form of street politics they may have to follow, whatever. You know what I mean? So I've been around it. I've been involved in prison. I was in prison. I lived on the streets for a bit. I was on the streets running around back back when I was younger. So I know I have an understanding of what street politics is in Los Angeles. And prison is prison. That's a whole nother world. Prison politics are going to remain the same, right? Because they've been like that in order to keep some kind of a balance between races in there and between gangs, so shit don't get too much out of control, right? They're established for a reason, but on the streets, it's different. On the streets, it's different. On the streets, you can perform as long as you ain't if you're part of the street code, right? Of course, you ain't finna be going around calling police and stuff like that, but should be no rule behind you can't talk to a certain race or something like that, or you know what I mean? And you go, basically on somebody telling you what to do or go make this move on this person. You know, especially if you done prison already, you already done prison, whatever, you out now, you live your life. You pretty much earned your stripes already. There should be ain't nobody to tell you what to do no more. You already improved yourself, right? And nobody can't say you can't go associate with another race. You want to talk to another race. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean at LA Unity. I'm pushing a different agenda. The same politics in prison should not apply to the streets. Some racial politics should not apply to the streets, man. There should be different on the streets. And you shouldn't feel like there's pressure on that. When you're on the streets, you're free to do as you please, as long as you ain't piece of shit, or as long as you ain't breaking one of your as long as you ain't getting involved with hurt like that. You should be able to do as you please, right? Give me a like if you like what I'm talking about. And I will continue on for a little bit longer. And share this live too, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be talking about more political and racial stuff, and with an open mind, and try to promote some kind of positive, powerful impacts out of this. Alligator Alcatraz. It exists. It's over there in the Everglades, in the Florida, off the coast of Florida, right? The detention center that was just built. That was just finished being built earlier this month is now in operation. It can hold a capacity up to probably 4,000 to 5,000 prisoners at one time, right? Radius miles of 10 miles, something like that. It was formerly known as an airport base. So Trump, the dictator, is actually smart in his planning, and planning to do the infrastructure there, right? Using an old airport base so he can have a lot of room to build the most the most freaking evil planning of a cage he can possibly think of by naming it by a fucking prehistoric iconic prison known as Alcatraz, and don't call it Alligator Alcatraz. Everybody know that Alcatraz is an old closed down prison. It's been closed down since the 60s over there in the Bay of San Francisco, I believe. Everybody know that. By him put the Alcatraz, I talked about this before in my other lives, but I'm gonna say it again. By him putting Alcatraz on the name is him being funny, sick and humorous at the same time. All kind of famous gangsters, done time in Alcatraz, known gangsters, that when you say their name rings bell right away, even though you don't know the whole history like that. By him placing the name Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz, is by him basically saying he thinks this the lives of the immigrants is a joke, and placing them pretty much like partially surrounded by water, where crocodiles, and alligators, are known to habitat, them waters, right? And roam them waters and other kind of vicious little sea creatures. Is him basically making a mockery out of the immigrants, saying their lives are pretty much close to spit to him, basically. The basically trying to say the immigrant lives are worthless. He's saying they're all criminals, they may have came over here illegally, but they still a human at the end of the day, right? And that's like, dude, you have like a criminal way of thinking in a way. You have a criminal way of thinking. What's going on, Ruben? What's going on, man? Thanks for joining live. Hey, what's going on? I think I seen you earlier, Kumar. What's going on? Yeah, he is. I think I already read that one already. But Charleston White, yeah, he is creating a bunch of mess. He needs to stay with his own politics in his own state. And a lot of LA brothers would agree with that, with me on that. But Alcatraz, man. Alcatraz is it's a sick joke, man. It's a sick joke. It's a it's a prison center that's been put up to basically house immigrants and pretty much inhumane. I'm pretty sure it's pretty, the way they keep the setup. I know they're not all hospitable with the way they detain and put the immigrants over there. I know it's probably, I'm pretty sure they're not being provided the proper medical care what you need in prison. Probably not getting proper nutritional food like that. Probably not getting no visits like that. Probably not getting, phone calls. Probably not getting the proper legal aid. Certain, legal assistances that they need. As their human rights. Everybody should be entitled to some kind of legal aid, whether you think they're a piece of shit or not. Everybody's entitled to some kind of legal aid, right? And as far as what the country has presented for generations to generations, everybody's has a right to counsel. But Alcatraz, right? Alcatraz is hell for what it looks like on Earth, man. Is hell been brought to life on Earth, and he's gonna hold every immigrant that comes over here illegally accountable for their actions. No matter if they're trying to pave a way to get their citizenship eventually or not, whether they have family, he don't give a fuck about none of that. Trump, is placing them all in this freaking this dungeon dome, right? This dungeon dorm or whatever you want to call it. And he's making them pay, suffer. He put them in inhumane conditions. There's already, I think, a lawsuit going on about that right now. They got like certain immigration groups that are advocating for it and all kind of stuff, backing up the suit that's going on in the court right now. Anyways, I think it's something. I don't know. I think it's some kind of suit going on to try to demolish the whole existence of the Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz, or at least improve the conditions or making it more acceptable to hold the house prisoners, right? So they get all the proper resources that they need while they serve their duration of time there. But yeah, the hell I was gonna say again, Alcatraz. The governor Rivas, I think his name is Reese, probably Cuban. You know what I'm talking about? They got a lot of Republican, very conservative Cubans out there, raised out there in Florida, and they have very conservative views, right? It's been known like that for some generations. He actually put over $700 million aside from the federal funds so he can help. He enabled Trump, to build this dungeon dome of a detention center, in Florida. The Florida governor, Rivas, he enabled Trump to build hell on earth. Ain't that something? But like I said, give me some likes, man. Give me some likes. Share this. share this. Subscribe because I'm gonna be talking more about stuff like this. I'm trying to grow this LA unity. I'm trying to grow this channel, this community on this YouTube. Well, me and my uncle Grad Star, former lifer. That's why I'm talking about politics as well. I've been around people who serve more time than me. Prison just been a part of my life. Not, I'm keeping the past, but it has been a part of my life. A big part of a huge portion of my uncle's life. And that's why, I'm trying to just preach LA unity right now. I'm trying to move towards a different route. I'm gonna add something else to that name too, LA unity, to make it more catchy. Peace, promoting peace, powerful. Powerful, productive habits to make real change, whatever you're doing, in the benefit for society and for the future generations to follow. Right. That's what I'm promoting right now. So join the channel if you want to hear more about that. But yeah, he did, dude. My uncle, he did 28 years in prison, man. He did 28 years in prison. Grad Star on here, Uncle Grad Star. He did 28 years in prison, my uncle. He went back in the mid 90s. He's been on level 4 yards, 3 yards, you name it. Level 4 yards in California. California, we have some of the most violent prisons in the nation, man. If not the most violent, some of the most violent prisons in the nation. Some of the most political, some of the most game made out systems you can think of in there. So can you imagine doing 28 years in that? Can you imagine doing 28 years in that and surviving, not telling on nobody, not punking out the game, just riding it all the way through? Can you imagine doing that? 28 years. So when he's talking about what he's been through, trying to, and try to steer the next generation in a better way, he's not preaching, man. He's been through it. And he should change his life around. He has a career, working with the homeless, provides food to the homeless on a regular basis. He works with the church. They have giveaway events and all kind of stuff. We got a getaway event coming up. Me and him are putting together at a park out here in Los Angeles that we're going to be putting together to promote. Like I say, I got to be able to try to help promote unity among my own race first before I can go outside of my race, right, and try to promote unity, which I intend on doing, but first I gotta make sure everything's home first. Try to promote, unity among different groups of my race at this park. We're gonna be giving away backpacks and stuff, and try to move forward in a different, lucrative direction. You know what I mean? Like I said, my uncle did 28 years, man. What's going on, John? What's going on? What city you coming out of, man? Shout out what city you repping. Shout out the city you repping. I'm gonna be on here a few more minutes. I gotta go do something else. Shout out the city you repping. My uncle did 28 years, man, and it made him. Prison can make you a man. It can make you a man, man. It's one of them rough situations that can make a man out of you. It's a negative situation that can make a man out of you, for real. A lot of politics in there. You probably been at war, but different riots and all kind of stuff. Anyways, that's what I'm promoting. Watch his content. He's promoting a lot about peace. He's bringing up stuff about different, crimes happening, and he feel like a lot of senseless violence going on. He's trying to promote like more unity on his behalf and get messages out there about what's going on, with different little events, tragic events is going on, throughout the nation and the world and stuff. Anyways, that's what we trying to promote. Like I said, there's been a lot of people, Hispanics going on and voicing their opinion about they feel like Black Americans should join in on this ICE protest. I'm not saying that there's not, that they shouldn't express their opinions on why they feel blacks. We immigrants too. I mean, not immigrants. We're minorities in this country too, right? And we're looked at as beneath people's feet as well, right? And we face a lot of, of the similar same. We stay in a lot of the same communities out here in LA County, and we face a lot of the, the same similar struggles. So I'm not saying they're not right. It's just I don't think it's really a time to go on social media and express, why you feel like Black Americans should join, where it's still so much this generation is different, right? This generation is a little more open minded. Every generation I see it gets a little bit better. You know, me being from millennial, right? Um, millennial, right? And then transpiring on to the Gen Z, they're a little more open minded. It seems like social media then brought them a little more together, you know, with the race relations, blacks and Hispanics. But there's still some kind of racial division, man, because there's still certain, I feel like there's still certain hate among different groups of the black race as well as the Hispanic race that's just not forgotten, because there's always some knuckleheads going around stirring up some racial shit, saying some racial slur, that which brings us right back to stuff like this. People will be weird, man. You can try to promote and be open minded, right, and treat people just basically off of their character instead of their race. But if you go, you say you're a black person or Hispanic, right? You say hello to another race in public. Say you black, say hello to a Hispanic person in LA in public, right? Or you Hispanic, you say hello to a black person in public in LA. They just give you a weird reaction. You just feel racial. So how are we supposed to move forward if we still got people like that think like that? Don't even do nothing to them. Just by the fact of you saying hi, greeting them in a polite, civilized way, they look at you look crazy because they don't like your race because of what traumas they've probably been through. Both sides, right? They might have been through with experiences with your race. They won't let it go. I've been through, riots. I've been through, a riot and stuff, in prison. I let that go. You know, with the Southsiders, with the Hispanics. I let that go. There's some people, everybody ain't like me though. They hold on to that. You can't hold on to that emotional draining concept if you want to be successful in society and want to try to move towards a different path, and it's just draining. You're not going to really amount to nothing. You're not going to really amount to nothing if you hold on to the same type of racial beliefs. But yeah, subscribe. I'm gonna be talking more about stuff like that. If you didn't subscribe, please subscribe. Give me a like, man. Give me a like. I'm talking as much as about this racial ICE situation. I'm trying to break it down from a positive light as well as an open mind as much as possible by me being an LA native. So y'all want to hear more about this, future videos and lives, give me a like, share the video, and subscribe, because I will be talking about this on somewhat of a constant, basis. Shit. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be talking about this more of a constant basis. That's how I feel, man. But yeah, definitely hit me back because I'm about to get off here in a second. I want to hear more about this, just racial indifferences, and pertains to ICE out here in LA. Subscribe. I'm gonna try to, keep y'all informed as much as possible, give y'all my outlook on what I feel is going on between these racial situations over ICE. Coming out of LA from a perspective of an LA native. Subscribe, share the live, don't be shy, and click that pretty little bell so you can stay notified every time I drop these dimes on y'all, these videos on y'all, so y'all can be in the loop. Keep up with the game. Westside, I'm out. Holler back with another banger soon. All right, I'm out. Be safe.